You, as a white person, would be happy to receive the same treatment that our black citizens do in this society, please stand. You didn't understand the directions. If you white folks want to be treated the way blacks are in this society, stand. Nobody's standing here. That says very plainly that you know what's happening. You know you don't want it for you. I want to know why you're so willing to accept it or to allow it to happen for others.
So you must make it one day. My youth don't stop from prayer. Stay firm, don't try the wrong way.
We're adjourned.
Viewers and subscribers, welcome back to the channel. Coming up in this video, we have the Black Lives Matter movement seems to score them first victory. So what I say? Yeah. But does Black Lives matter to every black person? Me don't know. Because I see which black people are kill black people very much hard, more than even how much white people are kill black people right now. So me just ask a question here. If Black Lives matter to every black people. Because if Black Lives matter that much, black people need to realize say them I take more black people life more than anything else. Now come to realize say black people supposed to open up them eye right you know, because at the first time in our history you have so much black people that say the same thing and you see you end up score one victory. Yeah, you get a guilty verdict out of everything. Now the question is, will the Black Lives Matter movements get the conviction where they must seek? Now, me no know all this thing with this whole heap of different charges and rate going on, but the man have 3 charges and him getting guilty upon the 3 of them, so if we say we are gonna get the sentencing where we really need to see how the man did horrible and the man are gonna get him fear away him deserve. Now we can't say this and say that, you know. But we don't know how the court system go and how that thing they go. When them done break it down and break it down here and break it down there, we might end up a cuss about the sentencing and that me I talk about. So right now at the time when black people really say the more they unite or the more victory them can score. Now the only part where me not see black people get right yet, thousands of black people are dead every day by other black people. And me not hear nobody a complain about it and I make no big protest about it and I talk say Black Lives Matter when that happen. So you see, until black people stop kill off them one another and show more love to them one another, we now go score the victory what we need to score. You see what me I say? Now remember, you know, me not preach no gospel over here, so you know. This is just my opinion. Me believe say the first time in a history where me can see majority black people I go for one goal when score a victory. Now if you can't see that, you I go blind for the rest of your life. Now bring me to the point where me I say whole heap of other things are going in the surrounding where have certain effect on the lives of black. So if you say you come together and score one victory with one thing, now you see say when you come together and unite and I say the same thing, you can score victory for many other things though. Yeah man, that's right there. So all me I say, black people need to stop kill off them one another and then black lives will really matter. And in the process of that, we are going to realize, say, every fucking lives matter per se. You see what I say? Yeah, not just only black lives alone, but every lives matter. Because if black lives matter to some of you so much, you would have realized, say, black people are do more killing than anything else to their own. Yeah, man. Now, viewers and subscribers, as I said, this is not no gospel I preach. Your views and opinion can be and will be respected. Just leave it in the comment section. Please and thanks, quick and fast, less than 3. You don't know, we're fully out here without fear like all the time. Just make me know how you feel about the whole Black Lives Matter situation. Does Black Life matter to every black person? Yes or no?
What do we want? Where do we want it? What do we want? Where do we want it? What do we want? What do we want it? What do we want? What do we want it? What do we want? What do we want it? What do we want? What do we want it? Say his name! George Floyd! 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 Say his name!
I saw a lot of conversation based around what you said about racism and how it's sometimes been a part of highway planning and construction. So can you break that down for us?
Yeah, I was a little surprised that some people were so surprised because I think to a lot of others it's been pretty obvious. But it starts by understanding the history, right? So if you look at the way that a lot of highways, for example, have been built in this country, a lot of that was at the expense of black and brown neighborhoods. And sometimes it was just out of convenience. So it's expensive to buy up a bunch of property to run a highway through it. Black neighborhoods are often undervalued, and so it was the path of least resistance. Sometimes it was about power, right? The neighborhoods that had the least power to speak up in a community process and say, wait a minute, let's have that road go there instead of here. Sometimes that was part of the explanation, but it's very important to understand that sometimes this was very intentional. There is evidence from history in places from Atlanta to New York City that sometimes the way that a road was built, the way that a highway was set up, the way that one part of town was divided from another was viewed as part of the mechanics, the mechanism of segregation, that you could keep two parts of town separated through something like a highway. So when I talk about racial equity in transportation, it's not just about making sure that everybody has access to good transportation, and that's its own issue, right? Transit deserts, where you have a neighborhood, often black and brown neighborhoods that don't have very good resources, but also literally when the money was spent, where was it spent and how was it spent and what effect did it have? And often you'd have sometimes a thriving neighborhood that got cut into or just rolled over entirely through the use of federal transportation dollars. And I don't say that in order to make people feel guilty. I'm saying it because we can do it differently this time. The president's proposed the biggest jobs investment since World War II. We're talking about hundreds of billions of dollars. So this time, let's get it right, including money to reconnect some of those same places that were divided in the past.
Now, I did hear that, back in the day, especially like in areas like Long Island and where the beaches are, they would make these overpasses that were too low for buses. Because back in the day, of course, minorities, black people couldn't afford cars, so they would have to take the bus. So that way the bus couldn't get to those beaches. So more of the rich white people would be able to get to the beaches and not allow us to get to some of those areas. Is that what you're talking about as well?
Yeah, that's a great example. The Robert Caro's history book, The Power Broker, about a biography of Robert Moses, who engineered a lot of these things, describes this. And it's exactly as you're saying. Overpasses a little lower than they usually would have been. So the buses couldn't get through, and the buses would have been how a lot of black and Puerto Rican residents would have been able to access those beaches. So that's another example of how this is not just incidental. This is not just out of neglect. There were some real choices made here, but now we can make different choices, better choices, and that's part of what's exciting about the